Also, I've decided I'm done editing my videos. I'm just gonna record them and upload them because that's
It's a lot of
too
work,
much work. I'm done.
and it kind of it can ruin the process too.
So
Yeah.
it's the whole thing. We're
Yeah.
just doing the
Well, we'll
thing.
be concise because I got
Yes,
to go in about 15 minutes, but
perfect. I probably do too. I
I
think
can
I'm gonna try.
explain everything I know about ketamine.
Okay, so kind of what I so Sean is you got a PhD in psychology?
That's correct.
Yes,
Since 1994,
1994.
when I finished my internship at Grand Valley State University,
Go Lakers.
and then I had to go to work.
And
Yes,
then you had
go
to go to work.
Lakers.
Go Lakers.
Yeah. Then I got my first quote unquote real job, and it was good,
Hmm.
but I kind of enjoyed being a student.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. And then I'm sure along the years you've had to do like, new trainings and that kind of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's a really, it's a growing field, with every
Hmm.
different context. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
And you want to just jump right into ketamine?
okay, I'll say kind of what I'm wondering about it.
All
So
right.
I've been learning like the brain, for 1 second it's perceiving 11 million bits of sensory information. It has kind of biological and cognitive filters that filter that 11 million down to 40 per second.
Mm,
Um, and, I think about that filtration system, it's kind of the biological wiring of it is influenced by environment.
hmm.
And so, I don't know, that changes a lot. It's kind of that, I don't know, it's different for everyone, like the relationship between, the biology and the environment. But a lot, like I think the kind of the mother of that code or like the kind of the control of that is your mindset, um which is how I think a lot can change for people like when they do take hallucinogens and like
Hmm.
medicines like that, because what it's doing is it's breaking down that filtration system and it's just flooding your brain with everything that's going around you at once. And I'm wondering like with like what kind of research that would look like, and I'm sure you've learned like with the ketamine and how that changes whatever outcome for people.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, and it kind of
Oh,
goes in.
your
Oh,
mic.
sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
should talk into the mic. It kind of goes in two different directions at the same time. One is like, can you see something happening in the brain? And, that's an easy yes for all of the what we would call psychotropic or psychedelic drugs.
Hmm.
But then the question is, it'll show a lot greater brain activity all over the brain in a functional MRI. So if somebody's tripping basically and you put them in an MRI, their brain's going to be doing a lot more than it normally does.
Hmm.
And so which can be overwhelming to people. I think that's why people get overwhelmed when
Yeah.
they're tripping.
Is that what you like people consider a bad trip? Is just that overwhelm, that kind of sensory overload is just like.
That, and then I think it ultimately comes down to it's so it gets too scary and they have a panic attack.
Hmm.
And then that, you know, causes more, I don't want to say bad thoughts, but yeah. Although some people argue that's the kind of like a roller coaster, it's the price of admission. So to
Hmm.
get that, I'm not saying you should have to have a panic attack, but to get that experience, it's going to heighten your awareness to a level like you were just saying, what, just 40,
Yeah,
40 per
11 million
second.
down, or yeah, 40 per
Yeah.
second.
Now I
That.
like to run around 25 myself. I like take it easy. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Keep it slow. Then I can focus on, hey, I'm going to keep talking because I forgot my filter, but I'll be right
No,
back.
you're good. No, I think that's interesting though. I think a lot of that also is mindset. Like, people who do take like hallucinogenic drugs and they go into the mindset of like, I want it to be peaceful and calming and have a good experience, and they do. And then there's people who either don't have an opinion formed yet and they just start taking them,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and that either freaks them out because they weren't expecting to see everything all at once, or yeah, it scares
Yeah.
them, and
That's what it
that's a bad
is.
trip. And I
Yeah.
wonder kind of like.
Everything all at once for a lot of people. Like a friend of mine could feel the earth moving
Hmm.
and he was thinking about how fast it was spinning.
Mm-hmm.
and he was laying on his stomach holding onto the grass because he thought like the earth was going to shoot him off.
Wow.
And he's not totally wrong, right?
No,
Like
he's not.
gravity's keeping him here, but the earth is spinning like a mofo trying to throw him off.
I mean that makes
Not
sense though.
trying,
Like
but you know.
maybe it's maybe some kind of relationship to like something with gravity because I mean he's not wrong. Like we are moving that fast, like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
collectively, and there's probably things on Earth, probably in the water that can sense that. They can feel
Mhm.
that, and that
Mhm.
impacts how they move. Like I don't know, birds and whatever. Um, but we weren't meant to feel that, and so to kind of break that barrier of something we weren't meant to feel, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that kind of with some people boils down to like episodes of psychosis, like hallucinations.
Right.
Like, is that, because your brain has to have some kind of stimuli, it has to come from somewhere, and, like the whole thing of not being created or destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think we just put a label that it's, you're crazy or whatever because it's just too complex to understand.
Mhm.
And I think people get overwhelmed and we aren't taught how to regulate.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of the metaphor in a popular movie would be that scene in Indiana Jones where they open, I forgot what they're opening, the Ark of the Covenant or something, and the light shoots out, and the Nazis that are hanging out or whoever it is, their faces melt,
Hmm.
and it's like you can't absorb it all. It's too much for people, and
Yeah.
then and it's not. It doesn't always like a. You can have a bad trip that leads to a good trip.
Hmm.
That's why it's good to have people around you that know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and to maybe have some access to other medicine that if you need to come down quickly, you can.
Hmm.
And most people are fine if they're in a, that we call it the set and setting thing, where what's your mindset when you take it? Where are you? Are you safe? Are you in a place where people will look after you?
Yeah.
And then you're encouraged to have a quote unquote good trip,
Yeah. That makes sense.
which I think is just a mostly panic free psychedelic
Hmm.
experience. But you'll still have moments where you're like on the roller coaster at the top and you're excited,
Yeah.
but you don't think you're going to die.
I wonder if that's like that feeling because that's exactly what happens like when a nerve is firing or neuron like with like the
Mm-hmm.
action potential like you have to get a stimuli like build enough to reach the threshold then it fires then it has to go back down go below like its set point and then regulate and it's I wonder like I mean our cells are constantly doing that I'm wondering if you have more sensory input to everything which would include everything moving in your body
Mm,
because like like if you and maybe that's what it is like when you're focusing your attention on something like if you put it all in your hand
yeah.
like you start to feel at least something and you think okay if all these filtration systems are broken down then maybe your like baroreceptors and all of these like
Mm-hmm.
neuroreceptors like sensory receptors are just all active all at once not filtering everything and so you just start feeling that and it's too much for people I don't know
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
guess.
I think it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And when you look at the getting into the idea that the experience can still be beneficial,
Hmm.
even if it scares somebody, and they might say, "Oh, I would never take that drug again. I would never do that again."
Yeah.
But if you, when my uncle took ketamine, for example, he
Oh,
said,
Mike.
"Oh, there we go. I keep forgetting."
Is it easier to clip it on your thing?
No, I think it'll sound better here.
Okay.
But yeah, I keep forgetting.
I'd probably do too.
It's late in the day.
It is. I don't even know what time it is. Take my
um,
watch off.
no, yeah. So my uncle took. They gave him ketamine, I should say. He says without his consent, which is an interesting side story.
That is common,
Yeah,
or at least
yeah.
in this. I don't.
Emergency room.
At
Yeah,
least in the psych ward
yeah.
or the psych hospitals, they just be. It's crazy.
Now, in fairness to the hospital, he's had 2 heart attacks and he had a pacemaker, and they thought he was having a heart attack or something. But anyway, they juiced him up real good with some ketamine. And he said at first it was fine. He was laying on the table and the lights were slowly becoming brighter and more colorful.
Mm,
And
that's
now this is a guy that does not do, I think he's maybe smoked pot twice in his
Okay.
life. And he's, how old am I? Let me see. He's like 70.
Wow. Okay. So so he was saying like so it like numbs like the feeling but it preserves his consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He felt like he's wide awake, but he wasn't hurting anymore.
Wow.
And then he floated right up into the colorful lights and he floated up to, and this is a common experience. People say they went to heaven or a heaven like place.
Mhm.
And very much like a dreamscape, but to him it felt very real. He talked to God. God said, "Stop worrying about going to hell." And
Mhm.
my uncle's very Catholic. The Catholics like to worry about going to hell. It's
They
what we
do. It's what
do.
it's the foundation of it,
I mean, I'm not
really.
Catholic anymore, but
Yeah.
I was in the whole Catholic grade school system, high school. Anyway, God said, "Danny, stop worrying about going to hell." And that was like his big worry. Like, and he has a lot of anxiety. And so it almost seemed like it was pointing out to him where the roots, or at least one of the roots of his anxiety, is in this fear based religious experience he had.
Mhm.
So anyway, he came back down and I asked him, of course, because he's my uncle and I wanted to mess with him a little. I was like, "Well, how'd you know it was God?" And he was like, "Well, I just knew because yada yada." And I totally believed him. But then this is where the psychotherapy part of the drug experience seems like it needs both sides. So he said, "I'm mad that they gave me that drug, but I feel more relaxed because I know I'm not going to hell and I feel great and that's awesome." And then within a couple weeks, he started talking himself out of it. And the idea is if you do the psychotherapy right after the drug experience, you can hang on to this freeing idea that he had, which was, I don't need to worry all the time. It's
Mhm.
not doing me any good. But he realized kind of what was happening. It's like, but then I got back in my, same way of thinking and convinced myself.
That it wasn't.
Yeah. So the ketamine gave him this burst of clarity. In his case, it was a real vivid hallucination about talking to God and being told, like, you shouldn't even be worrying about whether you're going to hell or not. That's not the point of any of this
Mhm.
kind of thing, which, how emancipating, right? If you've been scared since you were a little kid of hell
Mhm.
and then you get set free, but it didn't stick because he's 70 and he's been, you know what I mean? That the groove in that record is strong,
Yeah.
but promising, right? He went right to the root of his
I mean,
stuff.
yeah, right there.
And it's like, oh. And if Uncle Danny can do it,
Yeah.
anybody can do it.
And I think that's just the nature of that drug or whatever it does, like with the mind, like it is truly like this giant burst where you're at full capacity.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think people are so afraid of it. And it's not like you're gonna stay in that like drug induced state. You'll fall back down, but you'll have
Yeah.
that understanding, the learning of that experience because whether you made it up or not, you still made it, you still created it.
Mhm.
And if there's this idea that there's a creator and we are from the creator, like kind of like a artist and like their art, like
Yeah.
with ceramics, like that piece, like I made it exactly as I wanted it to be and I made it perfectly and I have a personal meaning to it, but now I have all these people around me that have their own meanings to it as well.
Mhm.
And it's kind of that same idea, it's kind of like a metaphor for that. And so you get to that moment, like with that drug induced state, and it's like too much because our system is afraid of it.
Yeah.
And you know, you get convinced you're crazy or that is too much. And it's not like you're going to stay at that kind of like crazy level because you're not grounded in reality when you're
Right.
on a mind altering thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
there's natural ways to do it, like just by using your body, like your breath, your like just your body and your brain.
Right.
And
Right.
people, I think it scares people. And that's why we're at where we're
Yeah.
at.
And that's been like the smear campaign since I was a little kid, was that these drugs are so, I mean, they used to run TV commercials when I was a kid that basically would say, "You'll be insane for the rest of your life if you
Hmm.
take these drugs." And it turns out that it's not only not true,
Yeah.
but these drugs could really help people get some clarity.
Mhm.
And then I love the idea that because insight is great, but you have to work at it kind of. So like doing the psychotherapeutic work or however you want to do it to process what you learned on your experience
Yeah.
seems like that's the way to make it stick around.
Mhm.
But yeah, they've been smearing psychedelic drugs forever.
Yeah.
And and seeing somebody have a bad trip, it was really easy to scare people and to say, "See, look what
Yeah.
horrible things it does." But they were very often taking doses that were
Just way.
way out of proportion.
That's the whole
And
thing is dosage. I mean,
yeah.
you think about the medications that we have that are okay, which I have you seen Midnight Gospel?
Mm-mm.
If you haven't seen Midnight Gospel, it's really
Oh,
good.
yes, I have.
It's the guy
Animated.
like Clancy, and he's got his podcast, and then it's animated
Yeah.
by the I think it's the people who did Adventure Time, and it's like this like kind of
Yeah.
like psychedelic, like funny, like kind of gory, just like whatever, and it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And I learned so much from that. But he was talking about his first episode I just watched. It was on drugs and meditation, and
Mm,
they were talking about like trips and stuff, and how the doctor was really like emphasized like there is no bad drug. It's
right.
just the way that we use it or
Right.
abuse it and like how we dose it. So like if you took, Tylenol and did an insanely high dose, like something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like the bad effects that we've seen from hallucinogens are just too much too much stimulation. But if you can like
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Yeah.
microdose it, like that's how a dosage, like on a small level,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
like a small effect of it. If you take more, like you think about it with
Right.
things that you can build a tolerance to, like if you just have a little bit, it's gonna give you like this benefit, like whatever, like smoking weed or something.
Yeah.
You get a little bit high, and then if you start building a tolerance, you go all the way until you take too
Right.
much, and
Right.
then that's the same with any substance, and it all looks different. If you take too much of, you know, painkillers, you'll die.
Yeah. Yeah. Or alcohol. And that's the
And yeah,
thing. None of
alcohol.
these drugs, as far as I know, I mean, some of them might make you sick if you take too much, but
Mhm.
like ketamine, for example, the main effects of ketamine, I believe, part of why they use it is it does not suppress your breathing
Mhm.
and it wears off in about an hour. So that it's a pretty safe drug for people to use. And if they need to do something horrible to your body, like if you have a knife stuck in your leg, the ketamine can put you in a space where you're not going to be screaming and kicking,
Mhm.
which is probably a good time to leave your body. But yeah, the pain pills and painkillers and alcohol and heroin and those drugs can kill you. Rather, fentanyl, obviously, very quickly.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, I like to encourage people to think about is, like for example, mushrooms might work well for you, THC might work well for me, LSD might work well for somebody else. Not everybody matches the same,
Mhm.
and some people just like I had an accountant guy tell me. I'm not saying he, was what's the right word, a square or anything,
Yeah.
but he said, "Oh no, LSD really helps me uh, get a sense of who I am and what's going on." I was like, "Yeah, I did not expect that."
Yeah.
But how do you get it, and how do you not? Yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah. I think it's like you could almost compare them to um I think of like vegetables or any kind of food and like your blood type. It's kind
Yeah.
of the same. Well, really with anything, we all have different like chemical compositions and stuff. So like the way that I experience some kind of sense is going to be different from you. Um, and you can
Mm-hmm.
almost do it as like a psychiatrist is like a nutritionist, and so like I'm
Right.
gonna
Right.
study like your chemical compositions, and we can try and figure out like what you like and then what best works with you, and
Mm-hmm.
go from there. If you could
Mm-hmm.
do that with medication and on a really like personal level of like understanding body composition and then also preference, because like you don't want to take something away from someone. Like it's not a matter of that, like whatever you use, whatever you do right now is fine, but instead it's making something that's more natural and like better for you, naturally occurring um, substance that could do the same thing, and if not just kind of alter your perspective in a way that's not addictive. but it is still, it's a controlled substance, and then
Mm-hmm.
based on like
Mm-hmm.
qualification or whatever, or just like you get a personal um, kind of breakdown of your body composition history, like all everything that makes up you, and then figure out what treatment's best for you. I
Yeah.
think that would
Yeah.
change. I mean, and it you shouldn't have to pay for it. Like there's, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think if we think of it as just part of wellness,
Yeah,
that it should be, assuming someday we decide to get universal health care for everybody, that should just be part of the deal. Same as making sure people sleep well,
eat well.
moving our bodies, eating well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the cool thing, I'll say this, and then I got to run, but there there is a around, I want to say, 10 to 15% of people with major depression, we'll call it that, don't respond at all to the standard medication. They're medication resistant, right? And it's just a lot of them try. I talked to one guy, he ended up doing electroconvulsive therapy for his depression. He was in his 70s and he said he just couldn't handle the medication. And it was, he had to take so much medication.
Yeah.
Anyway, psychedelic drugs are starting to look like they might break through for medication resistant people. Like it'll
Hmm.
really actually work for them. And for OCD, for whatever reason, and I'm sure there'll be other stuff, but it almost looks like people who were previously thought to be untreatable
Hmm.
are not so untreatable. But
Yeah.
we have to get past Richard Nixon's stupid. Can I cuss on your
Oh,
podcast?
absolutely.
Is this a cussing
This is a
podcast,
cussing
people?
podcast. Don't worry
Uh,
about it. Not for kids.
the
I mean,
stupid.
less. Oh, well,
Yeah,
also that's another thing I could talk about is like words. Like
yeah,
they're not bad. It's all
yeah.
about like intent.
I know,
Like
right?
if I like go to my cat and I'm like, oh, you're such a cute little fucking bitch,
Right,
or if I'm like,
right.
you fucking bit, like it's a different.
It's so
The
funny, yeah,
words are
because
the all
they're
words
not
don't have
magic.
meaning unless
Yeah,
it's the meaning you put. That comes from
right.
you, so it's
An
like,
FUCK is just a sound. It's like if a bird chirped a certain way, but
yeah,
we've decided
it's bad. I don't know about you, but hearing a 3 year old swear is the funniest
it's
thing.
pretty good. It is
It's
pretty
pretty
good.
good. It's got to just be used correctly, and
Yeah,
that's been
yeah,
my
yeah,
thing. I was thinking about outside was abuse and use, and I feel
yeah,
like it's true for the drugs. It's true for everything. Like there is no good or bad thing. Our relationship to it is what is good or bad.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
like the medicine is, it's just, this is just a tree. Um and like, if you cut it down, so going against the nature of it and then using it to harm someone. So say you cut down this tree and you sharpen it and then you throw it at someone and
yeah,
break their head
yeah,
off,
yeah,
versus if you wait for, like, nurture the tree, let it live. It supplies you fruit and the birds and everything's like fertilizing everything because it's all working together. And then at the end of the tree's life, it dies and you get wood and you're able to dry it out and use it and kind of, yeah,
hmm,
give back, and then you can eat. And it's like it's the way that it works, the cycles. um it's not like you're going to run out in that way, but if you just dose them, it's not, the tree isn't bad, it's our relationship to it that's good or bad.
right,
And
right,
it's the same for everything. And I think we just have lost our connection to nature,
hmm,
which you just have to kind of observe it and then follow what it's doing,
right,
is like completely backwards. And now it's like we're feeling it in every aspect, like people's mental health, their physical health.
yeah,
Like how many, like what percent of people are like generally like actually healthy?
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
food, I mean,
Healthy
it's
is
everything. It's
yeah, it's a
or
almost an abnormal state because normal just means right.
mm,
Is what are most people experiencing, but
yeah.
healthy,
But like, I mean,
that's
there's
another story.
the only thing that really is like disease, which is our biggest enemy in terms of health. Like everything else, there are some people who never go to the farmers who never go to the doctor unless something's very wrong or they're really sick. And we've figured out, a way to prevent illness using, the natural patterns, and it's controversial.
Hmm.
And then there's other uses of, the same thing, and there's just so many, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of
It's
stuff.
a lot of stuff.
That's the word, people. It's a
But
lot of
yeah,
stuff.
so the big takeaway from that is just do your own thing and use ketamine.
And let's start a cult, but the rule is you have to think for yourself.
Yes, it's a really
And
important.
ketamine.
And ketamine. Take all the drugs. No,
Try them all safely.
it's all about how you use your resources. It's
That's
all about
right.
intent. Have good intent and things will be okay.
And don't let Richard effing Milhouse Nixon ruin psychedelic drugs.
No, because I'm sure, well, that's the thing. We need more research.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go. That's what he
Microdosing,
screwed up.
I think I would love to see, like, going on to like every layer of your body that's measurable, like your blood type,
Right,
like
right.
pHs of everything, all this stuff, um, and see what food and what exercise and all this stuff is best for you in your system, and then you can have
Mm-hmm.
a personal treatment for you that's free, and then you're able to do your thing that you've always wanted to do, and then you get to do that and not have stress, and it'd be really cool and fun. So yeah, join the cult, take some ketamine,